Today, we're going to dive into the meaning of a single, really powerful word, Allah. You hear it all over the world, but what does it actually mean? Is it just the Arabic word for God, or is there more to it? Let's get into it.
So this is the question at the heart of it all, right? Is the God that Muslims worship a totally different deity from the God in Judaism or Christianity? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. And to really understand why, we have to start with the word itself.
To get this, we actually need to go way back in time. We're not even going to start with theology. Nope, we're starting with the history of the word, because the story of this one word reveals a surprisingly shared heritage.
Okay, just look at this timeline. 4,000 years ago, you had the Canaanites, and their chief god was called El. Now, that root word El is basically the ancestor. It slowly evolved into Elo in Aramaic, that's the language Jesus spoke, and Eloah in Hebrew. Fast forward to the 7th century, and in Arabic, it becomes Allah. You can see the direct line, right? It's not some new word that appeared out of nowhere. It's an ancient one, shared across all these Semitic languages.
And this is the most crucial point to get. Allah is not a personal name like Zeus or Thor. It's actually a contraction of two Arabic words, al-ilah, which literally just means the God. That's it. It's the standard default Arabic word for God, and it was used by Arab Christians and Jews for centuries before Islam even came on the scene.
So, now that we've got the word down, let's talk about the core idea it represents in Islam. This is where we shift from language into faith, and the central concept is something called Tawheed.
Tawheed is the absolute bedrock of Islam. It's the idea that God is completely and totally one, a single, indivisible, unique being. There are no parts to him, no partners, and nothing is equal to him. It's not just about believing in one God. It's about believing in God's perfect, sublime unity.
What's so cool here is how this really abstract idea is given this beautiful visual form. This calligraphy isn't just pretty art, it's a meditation on that idea of oneness. You see how the lines are all interwoven with no clear beginning or end? It's a perfect visual metaphor for the infinite and unified nature of God.
And the Quran states this idea with incredible power and simplicity. This first line from one of the shortest chapters is just a definitive declaration. It's so direct, so clear, absolutely no ambiguity. And this follow-up just hammers home the uniqueness of that oneness. It reinforces that God is beyond any kind of human comparison. Nothing can be compared to him. This right here is the essence of Tawheed.
Okay, so let's build a bridge back to where we started. We know Allah is the Arabic word for God. So how does that actually play out in the real world, across different faiths that speak Arabic?
This is so important to really let sink in. If you walk into a church in Cairo or Beirut today, you will hear Christians praying to Allah. If you pick up an Arabic translation of the Bible, the word for God is Allah. This isn't some kind of mix-up. It's a shared linguistic and cultural heritage that just highlights the deep, deep connections between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Okay, so if it's the same word for God, where does the big theological split happen? Well, it all centers on this very concept of oneness. And it leads us to the biggest point of difference between Islam and Christianity.
This slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have Tawheed. God is one, absolutely, indivisibly one. Suggesting he has partners is the greatest sin, called shirk. On the other side, you have the Christian doctrine of the Trinity, one God who exists in three persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You see, both faiths are monotheistic, but they understand that oneness in fundamentally different ways.
So this brings up a really critical historical question. The Quran is very direct in its critique of the Trinity, often describing it as a belief in three gods. So, why? Was this just a misunderstanding of mainstream Christian theology? Well, the context of 7th century Arabia is everything. And this is where it gets really specific and fascinating. Historians believe that the version of Christianity that early Muslims were running into in Arabia might not have been the official church doctrine. Some evidence suggests there was this local, popular belief that the Trinity was God the Father, Jesus the Son, and Mary the Mother. So the Quran's critique seems to be aimed squarely at that specific, non-orthodox view.
And this verse from the Quran makes that pretty explicit. It imagines God questioning Jesus directly, asking, "Did you tell people to worship you and your mother as gods?" This shows that the Quran was engaging with a version of Christianity it was actually encountering on the ground, not necessarily the one hammered out at the Council of Nicaea.
All right, let's shift gears now. We've done theology and history. Let's get a little more philosophical, a little more mystical. Beyond the doctrines, how is God understood through experience?
There's a powerful metaphor in the Quran that offers a path.
This is the opening line of the famous verse of light. It presents God not as a physical being, but as light itself, the ultimate source of all reality, all guidance, all knowledge. And the rest of the verse unfolds this beautiful parable about how we, as humans, can actually access that light. The great philosopher Al-Ghazali interpreted this whole thing as a map of human consciousness. So, step 1, the niche in the wall. That's our physical senses just taking in the world. Step 2, the glass protecting the flame. That's our imagination, shaping what we sense. Step 3, the lamp itself. That's our intellect, our reason, trying to make sense of it all. But here's the final crucial piece, the oil. The oil is the divine spark, the prophetic spirit that ignites the lamp of our intellect and allows us to see with true, illuminated knowledge.
So after this journey through language, theology, history, and mysticism, what's the big takeaway here? We've seen how one single word can contain entire worlds of meaning.
And this is really the whole point. The word Allah itself isn't the barrier. It's actually a bridge, a shared term for the God. The real complexity, the real discussion, is in the profound ideas of oneness, Trinity, and divine light that different traditions have built around that one shared word.
And that leaves us with a final thought. By tracing the journey of a single word, we haven't just learned a definition. We've uncovered the shared roots, the critical differences, and the deep philosophical questions that have shaped entire cultures for thousands of years. It just goes to show you, sometimes the biggest ideas are locked inside the smallest of words.